Okay, what we're going to take a look at now is we're going to add the implementation logic to allow us to both upload the file to Cloudinary and delete an image from Cloudinary as well. So what we'll do, inside our photo accessor class, we need access to the Cloudinary configuration, and we need to create a new instance of Cloudinary so that we can use the methods from Cloudinary itself. So what we'll do is we'll create a constructor, and inside the parameters here, we'll specify iOptions, and we get this from Microsoft Extensions Options, and in here we need to pass in the type of Cloudinary settings, and we'll call it config. And what we also want is a private read-only Cloudinary, and we'll call it _Cloudinary. And we'll also need to bring in Cloudinary from cloudinary.net. And what we need to do with this is we need to create a new Cloudinary account with our configuration values. So what we'll do is we'll say var account equals new account. And again, this is something that comes from cloudinary.net as well. And we open parentheses here and inside here, and because we're doing this inside parenthesis, that means ordering is important. We're not passing an object to our account as a parameter, and when we're just passing normal parameters inside parenthesis, then it has to be in exactly the order that the account is expecting these values. So what we'll do, we'll say config.value.cloudName as the first parameter, and we'll say config.value.API_key as the second parameter, and config.value.API_secret as the third parameter here. So yours needs to look exactly the same in the same order. And then we can set the Cloudinary private variable to a new instance of Cloudinary and pass in the account. And we've got a warning here because I forgot the all-important semicolon at the end of this variable. So with that in place, what we can do is configure the method itself. So we'll make this an async task. And what we want to do is make sure that we actually have a file to work with. So we'll say if file.length, and notice all the different properties you get, by the way, on the file objects that we have here because we're using an iForm file. But we're interested in the length, and we want to make sure this is greater than 0. And if it is, then we can start to do something with this file. So what we'll do is we'll say await, and then we'll say using, and we'll say var stream equals file.openReadStream. And we're using that using keyword here because we want to dispose of this stream because it's going to consume memory as soon as we're finished with this method. So that's the reason for this using statement. And the file openReadStream implements the dispose method so that the using statement does its job of disposing whatever resources are being used here. And then what we'll do is we'll create some upload params for Cloudinary. And we get image upload params class from Cloudinary, and we'll bring in using cloudinary.net actions to get access to this. And inside here, we'll open some curly brackets, and then we'll specify the file equals a new file description, and we'll say file.filename, and we'll pass in the stream as the second parameter. And underneath this, we'll add a transformation. And what we'll do is we'll let Cloudinary transform this into a square image, because we're not going to mess around with CSS trying to get rectangular images to line up nicely with square images. Otherwise, you might as well be on a CSS course. And if you were on a CSS course, I wouldn't be the one teaching it because it's not my speciality. But what we'll do is we'll make sure our images are simply square. As they get to Cloudinary, Cloudinary is going to transform the image into square images. And we can do that by specifying a height and a width of the same value. I'm just going for 500 here. And what we can also do is crop the image, and what we can do is just say fill in this case as well. and we're going to crop our image into a square image with a height of 500 and a width of 500. Now we could leave this to Cloudinary to handle the cropping, but we will not do. On the client side, we're going to add a cropper so that the client or the user can crop their images before sending them up. So underneath our upload params, we're going to say var upload result equals await, and then we can use Cloudinary, and we can say upload async, and we can pass up our upload params as the parameter. And what we can do below this, we can check our upload result. So we'll say if upload result.error is not equal to null, then what we'll do inside here is we're going to throw a new exception. And we'll need to bring in system to use exception. And what we'll do is pass as a parameter here the upload result.error.message. And this will tell us what's gone wrong with our upload to Cloudinary. And if we get success, what we're going to do is return a new photo upload result. Remember, this is the class that we created. And inside here, we need to pass the public ID. And we'll get this from the upload results.public ID. And we also want to set the URL, and we're going to set this to upload result. And we want the secure URL here. The URI is going to be obsolete soon, so we want the URL. And we want the HTTPS version of these links because we're going to be publishing our application to HTTPS eventually anyway, so we might as well. And we want to use the toString method on this. And we need to return something from this method, of course. So if we don't have a file, then below this method, we're just going to return null. And let's also deal with the delete functionality while we're here. Again, this is going to be an async method. And all we need to do inside this method is say var delete params equals new deletion params. And we pass this the public ID of the image. And then we can say var result equals await and Cloudinary, and we'll use the destroy async method and pass through our delete params. And then we can return the results that we get from Cloudinary. And if this is successful, then we'll get a string saying it was okay. And if it is okay, we'll just use the ternary here and we'll pass back the result.result, or we'll pass back null if it failed. So this handles the upload and deletion from the Cloudinary side of things. What we'll take a look at next is dealing it from our application logic side of things.